All righty, sports fans, welcome on in. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. So glad you could join our show. Oh my goodness, it's Tuesday, which is normally the Sabbath day for all of you football fans. It's the only day when there's no football games. Well, there was a football game last night, the national championship. Oh man, man. We're gonna unload all of that during the show. Of course, we have some very interesting news from the NFL in our news of notes. Got a couple of really cool guests today. Eric Weddle, longtime NFL safety, just was recently announced he's being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Drake Toll, who's locked on the Big 12. Drake is just, if anything, he's entertaining, and just always enjoy watching his stuff. So he's going to come on the show as well. Anyways, let's get right into it because I think this is fascinating. What happened last night with Indiana winning the national championship, and I think that was probably the statement that everyone said. Indiana won the national championship. I think everyone's stunned. I think Indiana's stunned. Here's what Kirk Signetti had to say after he just won a national championship at Indiana.
Coach Signetti, for the first time ever, the Indiana Hoosiers are national champions. What did it take to get here?
It took a lot to get here, but I'll tell you what it took to come out ahead in this game was a lot of guts. I give Miami a lot of credit. They played really hard. We couldn't get anything done couldn't protect quarterback at all. Made a few plays and adjustments, but they were back shoulders and a sprint out, got the ball, run game going. Made the interception when we had to. A couple fourth down, where we went for it. Mendoza, great run. Took some chances, found a way. Let me tell you, we won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done, and I'm so happy for our fans. Words can't describe it.
We won a national championship at Indiana. It can be done. In the world of college football today, anything is possible. Clearly, the whole pendulum of just everything, the axis, the center of our chi, whatever, the whole universe of college football was just upended. It was just upended. And here's the thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. I enjoyed every single moment of this game. I really was cheering for Indiana, and not because I was cheering against Miami, because I wasn't. Miami, just the whole story in and of itself, and how they got there, and how well they played, and they were incredible. It's unfortunate that the game had to end like it did. It really is. I mean, the coverage, how they kind of shifted the coverage. It's a play Carson Beck had success with earlier. Marion's a guy he's found some comfort with, and just tried to squeeze the ball in a tight hole there, and just didn't quite happen. And that's tough. But you got to love. Look, he's a guy that's been aggressively throwing the ball down the football field to win games, and he was trying to win a game in that situation. And I know it's hard for him. It's hard for all the Miami people, but it's hard to fault him in that situation. But here's what I loved about Indiana. And there's there's so much to love about this team, about this game. It's the play, right? It's the play where Freddie Mendoza goes in and scores a touchdown, and the way that he scored a touchdown, the fact that it was a play that they had put in for this specific game, it was for that specific purpose, and it's that right call, and it's a gutsy call. Kurt Signetti calling timeout and having the willingness to go for that win in that situation. One of the things that really stood out to me about this game in general was how, if you're going to win a national championship, you're not going to back into it. You're going to have to go win the game. And that's what it takes. It takes players that just have that ability and that focus and that calm in a really chaotic moment, in a really pressure moment. And it was a beautiful thing. And I don't want to harp on the Carson Beck situation, but I don't think he panicked. I don't think he, I really don't. I think he was very confident in where he was throwing the football. It just, maybe a little sooner, maybe a little bit more. I think he maybe misread the coverage a little bit, but whatever happened, it was a great play. It was a winning play by Indiana to change the game. But I want to get back to Indiana and what's so great about this. College football national championships have been so predictable for the last, I don't know, forever. And it's always kind of boiled down to just a few teams. And now you have a team, as Kurt Signetti said, Indiana just won national championship. It can be done. And there's probably 25, 30, 50 college football teams right now saying, well, it's going to be us. We're going to figure out how to do that. And I don't know that Indiana necessarily had like all of the answers. They played great. I think they were well coached. I think they got the right players that fit what they're doing. Mendoza was a 2-star recruit. He was a 2-star recruit. And he was able to kind of grow and develop, which is something I think the University of Utah has done well over the last 20 years, is they've identified players like that who have a chance to kind of grow into more than what they are. I mean, clearly stars don't mean everything. Sometimes they mean a lot. A lot of these schools get a lot of the blue chip players, and a lot of the blue chip players continue to be those players, but a lot of them don't. And there's a lot of players that develop late and maybe aren't quite that prepared or seasoned or ready to just step into college football and play, but it's been proven over time that they are. And so I think Indiana, it's something worth really studying to look at, where they found the players. But on top of it, it's a coach, and how much the coach means to a program still means. It's not just, hey, you just got to find the best players and show up and you win kind of thing. Like he coached them up, and they played hard and played with a lot of belief, but there is money, right? It's not like, they didn't have the money to compete in these situations. And there are a lot of schools that have this. There's the SMUs that have a lot of money. Texas Tech is putting a lot of money into their program, and also a lot of the big time programs in the country. But I think one of the things why this is so exciting to me is because it really kind of spreads the pool, and it opens it up for a lot of people. And that's what we really like. I mean, no one in the world can tell me today, oh, this was a terrible national championship game. Like, I don't want to watch because Alabama and Georgia aren't in it, or Ohio State or Michigan or some of the top teams in the country. This was an amazing game. It was just entertaining. It was a great game from start to finish. By the way, these college football playoffs have been incredible as it's moved on. And one of the other things, I think it was answered, or at least addressed, because this is a new playoff format. It's a 12-team playoff. A year ago, everyone said, there were good and bad things about it. Clearly, everyone felt like the teams that didn't get a bye didn't benefit. Well, Indiana just blew that whole thing out of the water. I mean, they not only did they win, and now this national championship game was a tough game, but they blew everyone out. So that kind of goes out of the water. And maybe some of this idea of, well, there's really maybe the top 4 or 5 teams in the playoffs have a chance to win. Miami was what, 10? Maybe, I mean, somewhere, at the bottom, and probably would have been worse had they not had the group of 5 teams in there. Miami didn't even win its conference. Miami is just fascinating where they came from. I mean, this is a team that was, looked ugly against SMU. Carson Beck was kind of shaky early on in the season, and they really came together. And clearly, Miami has done a tremendous job. They got great athletes. You could see it. They got great speed on that team and great athleticism. And up front, my goodness, those guys are just getting after it. If I'm a team in college football, I really, that's one of the places that I would really look to spend my money is on disruptive defensive linemen on the edge. It is a massive problem, especially when you can get guys that can do it without other pressures, and you can play coverage in the secondary. It's a challenge. It's a massive challenge, a massive advantage for a team to be in that situation. So Miami just really kind of turned its ear on well, yeah. I mean, there's debate on whether Miami should have even been in the playoffs. Are these the two best teams that were in the playoffs? I mean, you could probably argue, yeah. I mean, you look at their past, both of these teams, who they beat, how long, where they, the whole process of where they beat them, who they beat, how they got there, massively impressive. Both of these teams. And so you you can't fault the process. You almost say, "Hey, this might be something." And there's a lot of debate and a lot of discussion about should the college playoffs be expanded? Should it be where it is? Should we just, should we tighten it down, tighten the belt down here, and just have a couple of teams? I really think that I love it. I really do. And I love, everyone's like, "Oh, college football is just it's going away." And and I've never felt like it's going to go away, and it's just becoming a professional league and all these things. And Indiana, I hope, gave everyone hope. I hope everyone said, "Wow, that's what that's what amateur sports is all about." And I know that they get paid. I know it's not amateur sports anymore, but that's kind of the excitement about college sports. You have these alumni bases, you have these fan bases that are large, and they grow over time, and they expand, really the globe. I mean, people from schools go all over the world after they're done, and so there's an interest. And when your team is there, there's a lot of interest. And it was awesome to see Assembly Hall, what you think so much of Bobby Knight throwing a chair across the floor, and here it's sold out, and they're all just going bananas for a football team. And it's incredible. So is college football in a good place? Should it expand? I th- I kind of feel like maybe it should expand. I kind of feel like maybe there's an opportunity for it to grow this model. But here's another point I want to bring out, and I think this is a huge game, a significant game in the long term realm of where college football is. And this is what I believe. This is my personal feelings. Well, by the way, this whole show is my personal feeling that there's not a consolidation of talent anymore. And the talent, I mean, there were players that grew up in Miami or in South Florida or in Florida in general that made huge plays in this game for Indiana. And these players now are realizing that I don't have to be at just a few programs in the country. And I have an opportunity to go somewhere else, still get where I want to be, and quite frankly, not just go somewhere else, because you go somewhere else and your team's not very good, but you're like, yeah, whatever, and then I go on and I get drafted. It's like, well, no, I can go somewhere else and we can be competitive, and I can still go on to the next level. And the reality is most players don't. I mean, it's insane the how few players actually make it into the NFL who play college football, and it's quite remarkable. But this whole shift of or kind of spreading out of the talent in some ways is a little bit how it's done in the NFL. And we'll get into the playoffs later on, but you see how all these new teams have hope, they have a chance, and all that does is it creates interest. Like I thoroughly enjoyed watching the national championship game last night, knowing that it wasn't one of those teams. So when you say Indiana has a chance, well, they really do. And I think a lot of other schools have a chance. And so much of it now is really going to boil down to not just going out, spending a lot of money on players and just letting them play. It really is going to boil down to getting the right players that fit into your organization. Player development still matters, I think, in college football. It's one of those things that you kind of um, you have to have the right understanding and the right person there. There's also another thing that I think is happening with money is that these players are staying a lot longer. And so when you get into these pressure games, you get players who handle it so much better, only because they've had more experience and only because they have a better knowledge base, a better football IQ, because they've had the experience to be there. And that and we all benefit from this. Like you people say, "Oh, I'm tired of college football. I don't want it around. I don't like where it's headed." And it's like, well, no, there's a lot of good about it because you're going to get a better product on the field. Now, some people might argue and say, well, when you bring in all these new players all the time, you have to water down your systems. You can't get as in depth as intricate as you normally would because they don't have the time to really understand it and really kind of grow in that environment. So it's kind maybe it's a two-edged sword, but I really think that players are staying in college longer. And if you get someone to stay with the program long enough, then yeah, you can certainly develop players. And it's not so much like it's not so much like the superstars, it's the support team. And that's where I think maybe that's the difference between maybe in Indiana. You're gonna get look, everyone needs a quarterback. It's just what it is. Like and these quarterbacks, I mean, so many of them that I think were in the playoffs weren't necessarily originally with the teams that signed them out of school, and they actually showed an ability, they showed something, they developed like Freddie Mendoza goes to Cal, right? And who'd have thunk his whole experience, but he goes to Cal and then he develops, he learns, and so you have to find that maybe they're not your blue chip 5-star, this, that, whatever, but it's that support team, it's that depth that you develop, and maybe those are guys you recruit, maybe they're guys you get on the market at a great value, but filling out your whole entire team is as important as finding the right pieces. For me, if I'm just telling you, uh, you got to have some playmakers. Clearly, speed kills in college football. You get edge rushers. You get a great quarterback. You're gonna have a shot. You really are. Now there was part of this in that I just want to point out because I thought it was really amazing, and of course being a parent and also being the son of a parent, right? And knowing how much like my parents enjoyed my time as an athlete. And it's not only parents but grandparents and my grandpa was on the sideline of every single one of my games until he couldn't, until he was too old or he passed away. And that always just meant so much to me. Like I just really valued that. I valued it in the moment, and there were times, I think of when I was in high school and what have you, and looking over, and there was my grandpa pacing the sidelines, and he was just a big fan of mine, and my parents the same thing, and I never realized it in the moment. I guess I kind of did because when I was drafted, I was with the Miami Dolphins. I was a backup, and then I became a starter with the Detroit Lions. And I invited my parents to move to Michigan so they could be there, so they could be a part of this experience. And it was a great time to have my parents there when I was playing, and so they moved to Michigan and lived there, and it was great, and it was great, and I can only imagine because now I'm a parent. I can only imagine what it meant to my dad and my mom, and say, hey, our son's a professional athlete, and that's and just the pride and just the excitement. But I watched Freddie Mendoza's family, and this was, I think, I don't know, it's just one of the coolest moments for me about this whole national championship, that the human side of this, and to watch the agony and the just the whole, oh man, uh just they're just living on every single play, and their exuberance and their excitement, and to see Freddie Mendoza's mom, who has MS, who is limited in she can't get up, she can't, she's in a wheelchair, and yet she's went to every game, was a part of that whole thing, and that's the cool part to me about all of this. And what I didn't realize, and it was brought up, which was really cool, is his dad sits during the game for the most part because she has to sit, and so just kind of a cool thing, to kind of reverence but to embrace the challenges that they have as a family. And so you see this, and you really appreciate all that it is, and those are, those are those things. I mean, I think this national championship game and how it was played out, and the way that that Indiana won, it is why we watch sports. It's why we tune in. It's why we love sports. It's these incredible stories that come out of sports, and it just really is just such an amazing thing to witness and to be a part of, and we've really been fortunate, I think, with this college football season. Playoffs have been pretty good. But also the NFL, it's just everything has just been remarkable. So fortunately, we are blessed to be able to watch this and see this, and it does give us a sense of hope and excitement, and the human side of things is just tremendous. Now, every football program in America now says we're the next Indiana, like. We're going to do this, and you know what? I hope they do, and I hope that everyone in the country kind of ups their game, because it's hard to go into sports and go, we don't ever have a shot, like we don't have a chance, and now maybe it will, it'll just elevate the play of everyone in college football, and it should be exciting. So a lot to look forward to. Support your local team. Because you could be next. You could be the national champion. Now, really quick before I go out to break, in 1984, BYU won a national championship, and I don't think there were a lot of people that were going, yeah, we can do it too. We can be just like BYU. They changed the whole system at that point. They said, no one's going to do this again. I hope that the powers that be in college football don't look at this and say, how can we stop this from ever happening again? And they should look at it and say, how can we make this happen every single year? And not that it's Indiana, but it's that more people have an opportunity to win a championship. Makes it all so much better. All right, we'll take a break. We come back. We got some crazy NFL news of notes, a few coaches, some familiar names, and some not so familiar names are now becoming head football coaches in the National Football League. I'll give you my thoughts on that when we return here on the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell on YouTube.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us in our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, we've got your team's colors running through our veins. From official replica kits to custom player prints of your favorite stars like Ronaldo, Messi, and Kane, Kitbag is your one-stop shop for all things football. Powered by Fanatics, we deliver to over 180 countries, ensuring you get the gear you need fast. For true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
Farmhound's approach is a little different than a traditional treat company. We get to work with local farmers who are putting everything they can into regenerative farming. From the soil to the animals to the ecosystem. They care about how animals are raised and how we treat the earth. It's not just product, but it's part of that story. It's connected to just a whole lot more.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. So glad you could join our show and continue watching our show. We're having a lot of fun. Oh boy, the national championship game was just absolutely insane. I mean, it was crazy what happened with this national champ. I don't know that I've enjoyed a game. I don't know that I've enjoyed a weekend of watching football more than I think this past weekend. It was just filled with so much drama. Even the games that were kind of blowouts, you were just like, wow, I can appreciate that. Well, it wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to tune into this or I'm going to look the other way. It was like, no, this is really remarkable to see what is transpired. And yes, I was I was just entertained by things. So we've got some NFL news of notes to cover here in this segment, since we continue to cover all of this, and just wow, it's just so fun to be a part of. Of course, there's new hirings, right? And so the Tennessee Titans have hired or looking to hire Robert Saleh, who of course was the one of the hot defensive coaches in the NFL when he was with the 49ers. He went to the Jets, and it was. I really felt like Robert Saleh was going to turn things around with you. I really actually like his coaching style. I like just everything about, kind of his demeanor. Just he's a great coach. You could see that he was a great coach from his time with the 49ers the first time and the second time. I mean, they had some tough battles to deal with as far as injuries go, and losing some players in free agency and all that stuff. But man, he's just a great defensive minded coach. And so he's going to the Tennessee Titans. And I don't think you can judge any coach or any player or anyone for that matter that goes to the New York Jets. It's like one of those things when you have outliers, right? You have the high score and the low score, and you throw those out. They don't count, just like they're an anomaly. And that's kind of the thing with the Jets, just throw, if you ever coach or play for the Jets, just throw it out. Don't look at any of it. Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, maybe Zach Wilson might come back from the dead here in his career in the NFL if they'll just throw out his time with the Jets. And so they've and quite frankly, I think it's an invaluable time. I'd love to hear what Sam Darnold or Geno Smith or maybe even Robert Saleh. I'm sure Robert Saleh goes, boy, did I learn a lot from that situation. Boy, did I learn that you cannot do this or that or whatever. Or maybe he's, because Tennessee is an interesting organization, and I don't know how good it is or how bad it is. I mean, it's a team in the past that's had a lot of success. I scratched my head when they fired Mike Vrabel. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like that guy's a great coach. and now look at me now kind of thing with Mike Vrabel, and he's in the championship. What the minute I hear Robert Saleh, and I go, okay, this guy is now the coach, defensive minded coach. I'm an offensive player, and like offensive players, quarterbacks, and defensive coaches just don't really get along. And it's not that they don't like each other; they philosophically just are just diametrically opposed. They just don't see things the same way. I don't think defensive coaches, for the most part, really understand how to really nurture, develop quarterbacks. It's like it's a necessary evil. Don't screw up the game for us. Just we'll win the game kind of mindset here. Now you look at Mike Vrabel, defensive guy, defensive minded guy. Of course, he cut his teeth with a guy named Bill Belichick, who was a defensive coach, but really, I think did a phenomenal job of understanding and developing and helping Tom Brady along in his career, only because he was a defensive coach and he understood how defenses worked to try to stop players. Here's my philosophy, and which is an incredible thing. If there's one thing in my life that I would love to do, is I would love to get in a room with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and sit down with them and say, okay, how did this all happen? What did you learn? What did you teach? What did you find out? And I just want to get the down and dirty with the two of them. I mean, that would just be an incredible experience. And so for the most part, you're like, because typically in the NFL, in that it's such an offensive minded game, it's so much about the quarterback and the development of the quarterback. And you have this young quarterback, Cam Ward, who was the number one pick, very talented. What are you going to do? Robert Saleh, what are you going to do? Because you kind of had a similar situation. You had Zach Wilson. Now the fact that you picked Zach Wilson at number 2, it just raised my eyebrow. And Zach Wilson's from Utah. Watched Zach Wilson a lot in high school. Watched him a lot in college, and I was like, the number 2 pick in the draft, big stretch for me. But whatever. And again, from an offensive mind kind of perspective. Now, what happens to Cam Ward? Because there's a serious investment in a player like that, and you want to know that you're going to get the most out of it. And I'm not sure that Robert Saleh necessarily can't do that. It just percentages say not a fun situation to be in with a defensive minded coach. There was a guy named Jeff Fisher, though, defensive minded coach, had a guy named Steve McNair, ended up getting to a Super Bowl, and they did a pretty good job. So maybe this is the next incarnation of that tandem and that type of relationship. Jeff Hatley, the former offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, is headed to Miami. And this is, okay. I mean, it's one of those things where, again, the NFL is so much a copycat league. It's so much a trendy league. It's so much you find your coaches hot coordinators, defense or offensively, or retreads, right? And that's what you get. I mean, you got John Harbaugh, a retread. And I think so much of this is, especially with the retreaded coaches, is for the most part, they really understand the whole flow, and they understand the organization, they understand the preparation, they understand the process of the NFL. John Harbaugh's been in it for a long time and understands well, had a lot of success for a long time. And most coaches who are kind of retreads, and it sounds like such an ugly word and almost like a derogatory term. It's really not. It's just just put old tires on a new vehicle, I guess. And sometimes you get a lot of mileage out of those tires, and sometimes they just blow out. And that's that. But so much of it, Well, it pretty much, if you look at the teams that stink, and they usually all are it's the same ones all the time. It's really the ownership. It really is. It's 100% the ownership. And and you can't fault these players who come in and just go, I'm not playing in that. Now there's some coaches Tom Moore, 48-year assistant in the NFL, just like he's like, I'm going into a situation. I don't care. They haven't won here before. Well, we're gonna win and we'll figure it out. So and I think that's where a lot of these coaches who come in again just go, look, I can win here. You give me the right players, you give me the right situation, I can win. Still a lot of situations that have come up, and of course the one in Buffalo is really kind of throwing a wrench in it. It's fascinating to me that here you have the AFC. What is it? Is it the Central now? I don't know. The directional things of all these divisions now throws me off. But you have Mike Tomlin, who was fired. You have John Harbaugh, who was fired. You have Stefanski, who was fired, and there's only one guy left. You have Miami, Buffalo, and you have the Jets. You have it's just crazy how many of these teams just turn over. So a lot of situations still up in the air with some big names. So we'll follow that as it goes along, and it's always fascinating. I think the guy that maybe surprised me the most was Pete Carroll and going to the Raiders. I really expected more there, and you wonder, does he, because he's a young guy, right? He's an younger guy. Seems like he always has that great energy, and so that was kind of a disappointment to me. I was hoping for more there. And that was really a fun division with Andy Reid and Harbaugh and you had Pete Carroll and gosh, I'm trying to think and Sean Payton. So that was a great division. Now, speaking of Sean Payton, oh man, I mean, man, and you just go, you're literally at that game. You're at the game to go to win, to go to the Super Bowl. Now, the one thing you have going for you, and I think there's more than one thing going for the Denver Broncos, because I think a lot of people go, it's over. They're toast. It's done. And I don't know that I'm one. And I don't know for this reason. One, you're at home, right? You're at home. You have a really good defense, got a lot of good players around you. The quarterback has had some experience. Jared Stidham has played well. He's a guy that Sean Payton has a lot of confidence in. And so those are good things. And I think there's even more. When you typically prepare for a team, the New England Patriots don't know Jared Stidham. Like, they don't know how he's playing. They don't know, they don't have any kind of book on him because they have Bo Nix. Now they're going to know Bo Nix. They're going to know kind of his tendencies. They're going to know how he plays, the flow of everything, because there's all kinds of tape on him, right? So they have this. So when a new guy comes in, it's almost an advantage for that guy because the other team doesn't know what to expect. They don't know the kryptonite. They don't know what he does poorly. They know, so they're kind of like not sure of how do we handle this guy. And the reality is it takes, 2 or 3, maybe 4 weeks before people figure out a young player coming in or an inexperienced player, or someone that hasn't done very well. And then they go, oh, we've got this. Okay, now. So right now he's a total surprise. So he could do anything. But now Sean Payton, he knows what Jared can and cannot do. And so massive advantage there from the knowledge. Now there's the other side of it. This is a big freaking game. Like this is the game. This is the game to get you to the game. And if and so to have not played very much, rusty, emotionally, mentally, are you really up for this opportunity? I think the thing about being the backup, there's like no expectation. So is there really pressure on you? It's like no one expects you to do well. No one. They know. So so in your mind, you're just like, what do I care? What do I care? Just go for it. I have nothing to lose. There's no expectation. There's no anything. Now what will happen in that situation? Because his teammates are looking at him as well. They're like, okay, they're like, how's this game going to play for us? Because when guys believe that they have a chance to win, they're like, okay, well, I'm playing, and if they don't, there's just some kind of mental thing that goes on and they just go, oh, I can't believe our luck kind of thing. And everyone kind of rolls their eyes. Everyone kind of goes within themselves and the defensive players are like, man, we're out here busting our butt and we got no shot to win. And they hate that. Everyone hates that. Nobody likes that. So his team is going to be looking at him. So Sean Payton, and you're a coach. You're a great coach. You're a guy, you like this guy. You feel confident in this guy. And so you figure out the plays. You figure out, because if you start out in the game and you do well, then everyone is going to sit there and the Patriots are going to create more doubt in their minds, and your team and your fans are going to gain confidence and momentum. Now, if it starts ugly, it could be ugly, and maybe it does, and maybe you just kind of get in the flow, and then all of a sudden things happen. Now, on the flip side of it, you have Drake May, and Drake May. This is the biggest game. It's on the road. It's in a hostile environment. Had a tough game last week. In some ways, that might help. Because I don't know that there's a better defense in the NFL than the Houston Texans. Denver has, they're going to have a good game. It's going to be electric. It's going to be exciting. And is he up for that challenge as well? Okay. So it's going to be a fascinating game to watch. I don't think it's one of those like, well, just anoint the New England Patriots right at this moment, because the other thing for the Patriots, not only is it a hostile environment for them, but it could also be an environment where they're down to their third guy or their second guy or a guy who's not really played a lot. And you could argue, I don't know how good he really is. I don't think anyone knows. But he's there, and Sean Payton likes him, and so he's familiar with the situation. But there could be this overconfidence. I remember a game. It was 1995. I think it was our season opener, and we played at Pittsburgh. And Neil O'Donnell was the quarterback that year, and so he gets injured, and in comes Mike Tomczak, who played for a long time in the NFL. Really good quarterback and all this stuff. Played at Ohio State, and Mike Tomczak gets hit in our game, and I'm telling you, it is the most vicious hit I have ever seen in my entire life in all of football. And he runs out to his right, and people are there, and he turns he rotates backwards, and right as he's turning backwards, Tracy Scroggins, one of our defensive linemen, is chasing him, and they collide, and Tomczak just gets folded into two. And I'm like, he'll never play again. Like, I've never seen anything so vicious in my life. So now they're down to their third string quarterback. And we're like, okay, like we have this game in the bag. Jim Miller, of course, ended up playing. We actually played for a little bit in Detroit when I was there. Played and did a nice job for the Chicago Bears later on. But he had never played. I almost want to think it was his rookie year. And Jim actually did it. Anyways, they ended up beating us on a field goal late in the game. But the point is we all thought, oh, the game's over. This guy comes in. And so that confidence level can almost be an overconfidence level and not respecting that everyone, typically who's at the NFL level is pretty darn good. So don't take them lightly and don't overlook them. This is going to be a fascinating game. Now, there's another thing that's happening that I think is I think it might be a conflict of interest with what Troy Aikman is doing with the Miami Dolphins. And I'm a Troy Aikman fan. This isn't a knock on Troy Aikman. It's not like, tremendous respect for his career as a player. Love what he does in the broadcast booth. But here's why for me, anyways. Troy Aikman is he's in the media, right? He's in the public eye. He's in the media. He has a job to do in covering games. So now he, for whatever reason, has this special interest in the Miami Dolphins. And there's some speculation that he had a significant impact on the Dolphins getting rid of Mike McDaniels. So now Mike McDaniels is now the coach of whomever, and Troy Aikman's covering that game. And Troy Aikman felt like Mike McDaniels wasn't a very good coach. And so now I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying this is a scenario that could come up. And I'm also not saying that Troy Aikman was part of Mike McDaniel getting fired, but who knows? Like you don't know. So now he's covering a Mike McDaniel game, and he has this bias towards him or whatever, or he, let's say he gets a guy like the Dolphins hire a new coach, and now he has a different bias, and now he's like he's with Jeff Hafley, who's now the head coach of the Dolphins. And so when he's broadcasting these games for these teams, do you know that you're getting like an unbiased, unfiltered position from the announcer? Maybe people don't care, maybe whatever, but I think it's a disservice to someone where you're not accurately portraying what how that individual is performing because you come at it with a certain bias. So I just see it as this potentially could be a bias down the road. If Troy Aikman is in the business of being a general manager or being a consultant or whatever, different story, but he's in the business of broadcasting. He's one of the most respected voices in sports in our country, and he's got a side gig, kind of giving his advice on things. I just think it could create a conflict. All right, we're conflicted right now, and we're going to take a break. And Martin had a question for me that I think is appropriate for this time of year. We'll answer that question when the Down and Dirty returns here on YouTube.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. So glad you could join our show, like and subscribe, and all that fun stuff. We love what we do. We love having you a part of our day, and so thank you. All right, Martin Kelly, my ever esteemed producer, has joined the show now. Well, first of all, Martin, welcome to the show. And I know you had a question. Before we get to your question,
Okay.
I'm just curious. Are you okay with Indiana winning a national championship?
I am 100% happy that Indiana won the national championship last night. Obviously, for anybody who's followed the program and followed us before, I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. So watching the Miami Hurricane fans cry last night, watching Michael Irvin cry last night.
Did Michael cry? I didn't see that part.
I
crying?
imagine he did. I imagine he was in that locker room furious and crying and poo, whatever. They beat us in the first week. Watching them lose at their home was amazing. For the state of Indiana, I tip my cap to them. First ever championship won in that state in forever. Yeah, I'm happy Indiana Hoosiers won a national championship. Also because no SEC team has won a national championship in 3 years. The Southern powerhouse conference of college football can cry all they want. Boo hoo hoo. The college football playoffs aren't fair for us. You wanted the expansion, you wanted more money, and the Big Ten has just figured out a way to win 3 straight national championships. So yeah, I'm happy Indiana won.
Yeah, it's I am too. I'm very happy about it. You forget that you have Indiana. Of course, you have Purdue. Purdue has produced a lot of really good football players, and then you have Notre Dame, all in the state of Indiana. So it's not short on great universities and even programs that have done well in football. Just Indiana wasn't one of them. So exciting stuff. All right, you had a question for me. What was your question, Mark?
Yeah, so I was wondering, with the offseason happening, everybody, obviously plays if they play to the very end of the season or play in the playoffs. What's the first thing you do as soon as you wake up that Monday morning after the whole entire season? Are you going down to the stadium, cleaning out your locker, getting your golf clubs ready to go hit and get ready? Are you in the weight room getting ready for the next season, or are you taking that Monday, going to get some breakfast and saying, I got a week off, I get to relax a little bit? What are you doing as soon as the season's over?
Actually, it varies from year to year. At least for me, it did. There were times when you're just kind of chomping to get back at it. There have been times that right when it's ended, I started. And mostly what you start is your off season. Weight training and conditioning. The day after the season's over. So if you're in a team, like, and you're not going to be back at that team, like you make sure that you get as much of your gear as you possibly can. So you make sure you get your helmet, make sure you get I always had my shoulder pad. I had the same set of shoulder pads my entire career. And they would travel from team to team. Like there's just something about you just break in, and the quarterback shoulder pads were different and they were unique, and so having ones that it just fit like a good glove, and you never change that. So gear was important, right? And now what happened with me is I had a lot of gear from the teams that I played, and my family stole it all. Like they took all the sweatshirts, they took everything. They didn't take the jerseys, at least that I know of, but. So a lot of that stuff was confiscated from my family through the years, which is fine, whatever. But you assemble a lot of gear. Now it's funny because like when I was in high school, I wore my Letterman's jacket every day. Like this is the most proud thing that I had. I thought it was cool. I had this Letterman's jacket and I wore it to school. Warm weather, cold, it didn't matter. Every day wore my Letterman's jacket. And then I got to college and I never put that Letterman's jacket on again. And the reality is it never fit again. Still doesn't fit to this day. And then I got a Letterman's jacket in college and same thing. I wore it. I just, this is cool. I got a Letterman's jacket. It's just a big deal. And then I got to the pros and you never wore your gear. Like you didn't go out in public, with a Miami Dolphins jacket or something. Excuse me. But so you wore the gear when you went to work, and you show up like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and you put on your sweats or whatever, and all your stuff, and then you went throughout your day because you were in between exercising, walkthroughs, practice, meetings, and so it's just a very comfortable way and kind of an efficient way. So you're not changing in and out of clothes all the time. You just put on your Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood gear. So gear was a big thing. But then you had an exit interview, and I remember my last year in Detroit didn't end very pretty, by the way. And every year you'd always go and you'd have you kind of talk with your coach about the season, how it went, the head coach, kind of where things were and where it needed to go. And the only there was just one time I didn't ever have an exit interview, and that was fine. But I don't want to get into all the details of it, but it was just so you have those kind of reflective times with your coaches, and the hardest part about when the season's over is the continuity of it, the repetition of it, the structure of it. Everything was very detailed, and you were on a schedule, and I really liked that. I liked it because it really helped me to kind of stay on point. And once you got into the off season, you're like, what the heck do I do? And it's a very dangerous time because you can do anything. And so, but what happened is you can't miss your strength training. Like you can't just rush into that, right before the season starts and be ready to play. So there's just certain things you have to do, and you're 100% responsible for yourself. Like the team doesn't say, oh, when you're in college, it's different. They control your time. The NFL, it's just like, yeah, the only mandatory time you have to be here is during training camp. And there were a couple of like and they have mandatory stuff now that's a little different to OTAs and whatever, but a lot of the time is on your own. And most players then went home. I always lived where I played, so I stayed right there. I worked out in the facility all year long, but there was a period of time where you just go, okay, I need to breathe. And it wasn't long for me. It might have been a week or whatever. But I usually got right back into at least the lifting part of things. One thing what did happen though is you'd have like your body was like so beat up from the season. And for me, it took about a month before my body started to feel like, okay, I feel like a normal human being again. But that was pretty much it. I mean, it's an interesting question. So appreciate you asking.
Of course, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's such a curious question because like the first thing everyone thinks of is like, oh, you're booking your flights to Cancun to go get your golfing game up and going.
Well,
and
you
get
do
some,
that. Yeah.
Skimpy drinks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Stuff, but I can imagine you waking up the next morning going, I get to go have breakfast. I don't have to go rushing anywhere. I don't have to get the kids up. I just get to sit here and go get breakfast. That would be the first thing I would do in the off season.
My body, for whatever reason, just gets up, even if I don't sleep at night. And it's just I've always been a morning person, so it just that doesn't change. But all right, good question. All right, hey, Eric Weddle, of course, 14-year veteran, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winning. Defensive back is going to join the show here next. Got a lot to talk about with Eric, so it'll be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss it when the Down and Dirty returns here with Scott Mitchell on YouTube.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. The luxury and confidence of premium clad stainless steel meets Scratch Defense Extreme Non-Stick that won't scratch, ever. With an ultra-thick aluminum core for high-performance heating. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance of clad stainless steel. Scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
At Mapifel, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapifel.com and start celebrating your story today.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. Oh, boy, I can't wait for this. Got an exciting guest joining the show right now. It's none other than Eric Weddle, Super Bowl champion, two-time first-team All-Pro, six-time Pro Bowler, the 2010s All-NFL Decade Team, Consensus All-American, Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, and now Eric is being introduced and inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Welcome to the show, Eric. How you doing?
Scott, great to see you. Man, that was quite the intro. I don't know if I deserve it, but hey, man, thanks for making an old man feel good.
Hey, that was the Reader's Digest version. There's so much more to that. I was just giving them like, the Cliff Notes, just the down and dirty of everything. So, I got to ask you this question because I am just fascinated with what happened to you. Of course, winning the Super Bowl in the fashion that you did, that you came back late in the year, which it's like, I don't know how you did it personally, but what was it like winning the Super Bowl the way you did?
Man, it was just insane how it all came together. And I had just got done interviewing for the head coaching job that I'm at the high school right now, and I turn my phone back on. I have a missed text message from Raheem Morris, and he says, "Hey, give me a call when you get a chance." And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of odd. I hadn't talked to Raheem in a few months, and we go way back from the Senior Bowl. He coached me in the Senior Bowl when I was coming out of Utah." So I called him, and the first thing within 30 seconds of talking, he goes, "You're not fat and out of shape, are you?" And I paused, and I'm like, there's no way he's going to ask me what I think he's going to ask me. And I go, "No, but I'm not the same guy I was 2 years ago." And he goes, "You think you could give us 15, 20 snaps Monday night?" This was Tuesday afternoon of game week. And
this
I
is
literally,
the playoffs too, right?
Yeah. I started laughing. I was like, what is going on? And I didn't realize they had lost both starting safeties that week 17 game. And, going back and forth over the next few hours, and decided to take the opportunity of a lifetime, right? Like, oftentimes opportunities come and go, and are you willing to take them? And so for me, I wasn't physically, I was a little nervous about physically, I knew eventually I was going to get hurt, because you don't train for football for 2 years.
Right.
But on the flip side, I mean, look what happened. And those things, becoming a champion and having a real role, never would have happened if you just don't go for it. And it was like a life lesson for everyone that I'm trying to inspire, that just go for it. You never know what could happen.
How long did it take when you came? How long did you feel like, okay, because there's like in shape, there's out of shape, there's game shape. You know, how long before you actually got in game shape when you came back? Was it within a game, a week, 2 weeks, or maybe never?
Oh my gosh. You know, I don't think I ever did. Like I don't sugarcoat this. I played those playoff games at about 85%. Speed wise. And when you get older, you would understand this, like the mental side of it, you know, instincts, intuition, like that can get to the ball than natural speed. Right. And so I knew that if I went like 100%, I would rip every muscle. And the times that I did go more than 85%, I like pulled my groin, I pulled a hammy, like not pulled it where you can't play, but definitely strained it where that's what I was battling, and just trying to be able to practice and physically like working out 2-3 times a day to try to put some muscle back on. Like it was insane. And then, you know, in the Super Bowl, I ruptured my pec because, you know, it was bound to happen. So did I ever get into football shape? No. The whole like training staff, coaches, like we did everything possible to make it work and finagled it as best we could to make sure like I was able to at least give it all in games. And if I end up getting hurt in the game, like so be it. But the practices and weeks leading up to each game was a process just so I could try to play each game.
So I'm always fascinated with this. You know, so you have this incredible kind of redo for a moment, win a Super Bowl, and then you go and you actually really retire for good. How challenging has that transition been for you? Was it easy? Was it hard? Have you still not got over it? What did winning a Super Bowl help? Like how has your transition after playing been for you?
Honestly, like when I retired in 20, I was ready to be done. Like for anyone that's played like more than, I don't know what the number of years is, but it just becomes time. Like my youngest was going into 7th grade at the time, I believe. My oldest. My son was going into 5th grade. So it was like, all right, 13 years. And my last year in LA, I was living by myself. It was the first time I was away from my kids and wife. And it just wasn't an enjoyable experience, if I'm being honest. And I'm like, when is enough? Like my time needs to be with my family. I could have kept playing, but the time, the sacrifice, the pain, like I was just over it. I was over waking up, having to mentally like get myself going to work out and to rehab and to study. So I was good. I mean, I was content. I was happy. I was coaching youth football. I was at all my kids' activities, those 2 years out of retirement. And, you know, I had no desire to ever play again. It just so happened to kind of fall into place where you're able to go back to a team that really needed you and you were able to help them. Oh, sorry for that. Oh, we get a little Pledge of Allegiance here.
I love it.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. I love it. That's good to hear that we're still doing this. Wow.
That's awesome.
It's almost done.
This concludes Philip, Ben, DJ,
Talk about a real show with Scott Mitchell.
Hey, let's do it, man. You don't go everywhere and have that happen. So tell me a little bit about your coaching high school football. I did that, by the way, and I know it was like really fun to be able to. Where the heck are you?
I'm in my office, but this is like at the high school. So
you're actually coaching right now, which is what I want to talk to you about. How has that been coaching football? I'm curious your experience, because I had a tremendous experience with it, but just what's it been like for you?
Yeah, so my first year, I just finished my 3rd year as the head high school coach at Rancho Bernardo, and It's been a transition. When you're playing in the NFL or any job that is like requires a lot of time, you kind of remove yourself from the world and society.
Yeah.
And so when I got back into high school, I was kind of expecting it to be like what it was when I was playing, and it's changed a lot. Is change is an understatement of the dynamics of high school football, and the kids that I have, for the most part, like Fridays we wear blue. You know that back in the day, like football was fun. It was where you got to hang with your buddies. You would, go compete and hit each other, and that was like you live for it. Where now I'm having to keep kids in the program. I'm losing kids every off season because the kids just don't love football and they don't see the benefits of being a part of a team and working together and the camaraderie and the having to deal with adversity and having to do hard things like is a very foreign concept nowadays for these young kids. So that has been probably the adjustment I feel like I've had to understand and to adapt of how I coach and how do I inspire and how do I help these boys understand that what I'm ultimately trying to do is help them understand what those characteristics look like of great fathers and husbands. Future fathers and husbands is what we're trying to do. So, the football side of it, I coach, I love it, but it's much more of nourishing and developing these young men. And so it comes and goes of the time and effort and the enjoyment of it. But I think it's a good balance for where I'm at in my life. I still have 2 girls underneath my son, who's going to be a junior. So I'm content with where I'm at right now. But ultimately, I think I'm meant for higher level coaching, and I think eventually I'll get there. But I got great kids. I got good culture. No, I got yes sir, no sir kids. So it's not that. It's just the dynamics of like when you'll understand. So like when you're around elite minds and people for the majority of your life that aspire to be the best, and then you're in a situation where kids don't really love football. They're not really motivated to excel. It's can be draining on you.
I get it. I saw both sides of that when I coached as well, and but it was having impact on the players and their lives and the phone calls you get later on, and I had some kids, really did totally change the trajectory of their lives, and it was just so worth it for me to do it. I love coaching. I'm so glad to hear that you're doing it. Okay, I gotta ask you this question because this drives me bananas. And I've seen it so much in the playoffs right now with pass interference, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like teams just I would just throw it up in the air and we'll just hope, and most of the time it turns out to be a good thing, and you end up like these critical moments in these games are decided by a subjective opinion of an official. Please help me understand, what is pass interference?
Well, with what you're seeing, and so this is a great play right here where we're talking about the catch, non-catch, did they survive the ground, this and that. Like, that should have been a pick 6 for me. They blew the whistle, and we ended up getting the ball, our offense. But the whole pass interference, like, at the end of the day, if you're not playing the ball or trying to look back and make a play on the ball, you're going to get called for pass interference. Like, it's just a no-brainer. And then if you get there before the ball, hit the guy before the ball, it's going to get called. Like, I know a couple of those late plays in the Buffalo, like everyone's up in arms. Why is the ref like the refs, they have a tough job, and it's not easy to make these bang bang plays, and you're supposed to try to make a call, the right call, what you're seeing, what you're studying. But at the end of the day, like, I just felt as a defensive back, so much of when you get in a bad position is a pre-snap or your eye discipline or your technique. And so, if you're in a spot where you're in trail and the ball's coming and you're frantic and you lose control and you hit the guy, like, that's on you. So that's what the rules are. They've changed the rules so much to benefit the offense that if the people that are watching don't like the product and you're getting tired of it, then they need to switch these rules up a little bit, so it makes it a little bit more of a balanced game between the offense and the defense.
Yeah, I feel for you defensive players in those situations, and I just don't like that it's, let's just throw it up. It's just take a chance here, and it's a good chance. I mean, I don't even think it's a 50-50 ball. I think it's a 70-30 ball for the offense. You either catch it or, I mean, most of the time the DB doesn't intercept it. He just knocks it down, and a lot of times it gets pass interference. I don't like it. All right. Indiana, of course, I don't know if you watched the national championship game last night. A surreal game, unbelievable. Indiana wins a national championship. So if they can do it, surely Utah can, right? I mean, if Indiana can win it, Utah can win it. What is it going to take for our Utes to win a national championship?
Well, I think I put it within 4 years. You're going to see us in the national championship, and mark it down right now. I think the changes and the direction and the continuity and the vision, the togetherness of the building, the organization, the university, the coaching staff. I just feel like this moment in time is going to be it's going to skyrocket our program. And so go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things it's fascinating, because one of the things that Morgan Scalley said in his press conference was, he goes, "Hey, we're going to work to win a national championship here." And he said, and I said it. And,
yes.
And no one said it before. No one's talked about it. No, it's always been about, well, we'd like to maybe win the conference or whatever. And I love that he put it out there. And I really appreciated that. What is it about Morgan Scalley that because you know him well, what's going to make him a great coach at Utah?
He has that it factor in the sense that he knows how to lead. He knows how to motivate. He's very personable. The relationships, the continuity, like, he empowers others around him. And as a player, as a coach, as family and friends, like, when you feel empowered, when you feel that you have ownership to decide and to make things your own, it's for the better. And so I just feel that, and I've gotten word over the last couple of weeks of just how much it's different in a good way. I love Coach Witt, and I wish him all the best at Michigan, and everyone knows that. But this is our program now. So let's focus on where we're going and the vision and the direction that we're going. And I love that what we can provide. What are we as a university going to provide for these kids? And if you don't like it, then don't come here, right? Like, I just love that we're not going to beg guys to be Utes. Okay. You want to be a part of this and understand what it can give you for a lifetime, then let's do this and let's buy in, and great things are going to happen. So I just feel it at my core. I've known him for 20 plus years. I know the type of man he is, obviously the X's and O's, but just more about bringing people together. I think it's second to none. And as you know, with where we've been and what we've seen what it looks like the right way and whatnot. I think at the end of the day, the most connected teams, organizations are the ones that are most successful. And I think you're going to see that in the coming years.
Yeah. You look at Indiana, it wasn't just talent. It was, they had something. There was something they developed. They got the most out of the players they had. They got the right players that fit. It wasn't just about the top talent. How much do you think you'd be worth in college football today?
Oh gosh, me? I don't even know. In terms of like if I was like if I hit the portal after my junior year after being the defensive player of the year,
Yeah.
And an All-American, I don't know. For a defensive back, like I don't know. I don't even know if like that would be like $1 million, but you would probably think that going into my senior year. So maybe that. I don't know.
So you're worth $1 million. What would $1 million have done for you in college? Like, could you have handled $1 million? Like $100, I felt like I was rich, but what's $1 million to a college student?
Scott, going into my senior year, my wife and I were living in Ogden. I had a $700 scholarship check. She had $250 scholarship check.
Wow.
She had just graduated, going to work for the state of Utah, making $1,100 a month. So I think our rent at the time was $700, and so we were living off of $200 to our name. So $1 million would have changed our lives. Would we have known what to do with it? No. We probably would have just went on a crazy. Well, my wife's very organized, and so she would have like did the right thing and put it away and saved it. So, but yeah, it's crazy, the dynamics. These kids, it's been flipped upside down. Like the whole NIL was for name, image, and likeness. Like for example,
right,
it would be like, hey, I get a percentage of the jersey sales my senior year of all the 32 jerseys that were sold, right? Or the banners that were hanging on 400 South leading to the stadium that had my name on there in my face. Like that's what NIL was supposed to be for the guys that were just crazy notoriety and wanted to get paid off their name, image, and likeness. It was never what it is. Like it's never been that. It's basically, hey, you're a semi-professional player and we're going to pay you to play. And so I don't quite understand why it got to this point and why thinking heads couldn't have put some actual rules and guidelines and actually put some thought into paying these players. Like I'm not against paying players, but I'm against what it is because it's taking everything away from the relationships, everything away from the university, the community, the connection that we have because we spent 4 years at our university. And you know, I was watching that game last night. How many kids, maybe a 5, if that, were on their team before the last season? And all I could think of is the true freshman Tony. Outside of him, who was on Miami or Indiana before last year?
Yeah.
Like they all came from other schools, and that's just, I don't know. I just don't think that's a good product. I don't, like, if I'm a fan, why is that something that I would want to support? You know, like you know, when you got Mendoza getting up there after the game, loving the university. I love this for the fans. You've been there 6 months. You have no idea what you're talking about. Like, don't talk as if you've been there for 4 years and you were with the struggles and the 2 and 10s and you were in the community helping out. Like you weren't. You were there for 6 months, man. So I don't know. You could probably people are going to say like, oh, you're just bitter and you're old fashioned, this and that. Like that's fine. But I'm sure a lot of people who love their university and love the time that we put in together, the good and the bad, that molds us into who we are now. And so I think that's important when you're looking at the grand scheme of things.
I couldn't agree more with that because, you know, I look at my time at Utah and it was some of the most valuable time of my life. It created a foundation for a lot of who I was, my beliefs, just everything. And so, you know, you can't put a price tag on that. And it's unfortunate that it's very different. Yeah. So who was the toughest quarterback you faced in the NFL? Who's just like, oh man, I don't want to play this guy today?
I think talent-wise, it was probably A-Rod in his prime. I mean, it's just so good. Like,
yeah,
you look at his career stats, and people like they try to, like, when you get older and your game starts to slip, that's what people remember. Like, this man has 500 touchdowns and like 100, barely 100 and something picks. Like, he's the only quarterback to be a 5-to-1 TD to intercept rate. Like, when you got an interception off A-Rod, it was like the holy grail because he never threw picks. I mean, so like, you see like, you hope people remember how incredible he is. Now you're talking about postseason success and the greatest, and just my time. Like, I was 1-6 against Tom in my career. My one win was when we won the Super Bowl and we beat him in Tampa. Like, that was my only win against him in 14 years. So he was probably the greatest. I really enjoyed going against Peyton because we had amazing battles, and I had, it was just a cat and mouse game. And, I think of my 30 picks, I think 3 or 4 of them were against Peyton. So it's kind of a fun deal to talk about. But the most talented, A-Rod, and then the hardest was Tom, because we just never beat him.
You got inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Of course, that's happening. What does that mean to you?
It's it's humbling. It's surreal. I've always said this. Like, I think for sure, I thought I was deserving of the College Football Hall of Fame, just my 4-year career. And I thought, that was something like attainable. And to see that come around, and with all the help and work that on behind the scenes to make it happen, like, it's kind of a crazy, what you have to do. Like, the admin had a lot to do with me getting in. And so I have to give a thanks to, Mark and President Randall, and obviously Jeff Rudy, who, they have to submit a lot of information to even get you on the ballot. And so, and then I just think about my teammates. I think about the coaches. I think of how fun and the good times, and even the times that were tough, that mold you into who you are. It brings back so many great memories. And to just, to think of myself as one of the, as a Hall of Famer of college, like, that's something to be really proud of. And it's almost like, wow, I'm like in the less than 0.02% of college football players. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about, if I'm being honest. And I don't know if I'm warranted of being in that group, but I'll take it and run with it.
Oh, you're definitely warranted, for sure. And congratulations. It's a tremendous honor. Really is. Hey, I thought we could end this interview with maybe singing the national anthem. I mean, we started with the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll just end it with the national anthem. So,
I was hoping we could do our fight song. I mean, I'll do that in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, we'll keep that one. I know, I'm not sure I totally remember it, but I'll have to brush up on it. And, I'll send
I sing it probably once a month with my kids in our house, because I just, we love our university.
That's awesome. Good for you. Hey, have a great day, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, Guy. Anytime, buddy. Great to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. All right, there you have it, folks. Eric Weddle, of course, recent inductee, or he's being inducted, I guess, into the College Football Hall of Fame. Great guy. Loves, he loves the things that are right in the world. So it's awesome to see. Hey, stick around. So much more. I believe we have Drake Toll from Locked On the Big 12 joining us around. We're going to learn about what the heck are the Savannah Bananas when the Down and Dirty returns here on YouTube.
You probably get unwanted emails almost every single day.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Have you ever wondered why so many pet parents are choosing to have virtual vet appointments? Online veterinary care is making it easier than ever to get expert advice for your pet. Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns and expand access to pet care. Book your first appointment today.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. So glad you could join our show. Please like and subscribe. You know, all that stuff you do. We really appreciate it. Love what we do. And I'm really excited about my next guest. There are a lot of people I don't listen to, a lot of people that don't make any sense. But I really, really enjoy listening to Drake C. Toll. Of course, he's locked on the Big 12. He has a new program that on Westwood One, a big show. It's on Sirius, I believe, XM. Is that right? Yes. Yeah, and then the thing that I know all my guests are really interested in is the Savannah Bananas. Like that, if you talk about something that's down and dirty, it's the Savannah Bananas. Please explain to me what the heck the Savannah Bananas are.
Yeah, Scott, first and foremost, thanks for having me on the show. I'll be in Salt Lake this weekend in Provo.
Oh, nice.
Basketball, BYU, Utah, and then the Cougars, and they take on Arizona on Monday. So super excited to get out there. In the meantime, we're all banana ball right now here in Savannah. We reported yesterday for spring training. I know it sounds kind of weird, but Jackie Bradley Jr., Red Sox legend, World Series winner, is now a member of the Savannah Bananas organization. There are 6 teams total in the Banana Ball Championship League. We are rolling out 2 new squads in 2026 and playing venues as large as Kyle Field at Texas A&M, completely sold out. We'll play on Rocky Top in Tennessee, completely sold out. We'll play the Blue Field, the Smurf Turf in Boise, Idaho, sold out as well. It's not just the Bananas. It's the Firefighters, the Party Animals, the Texas Tailgaters, a myriad of teams that we carry with us that have a ton of success in this sport, and very excited for what 2026 is going to bring.
Okay, so this is an actual league, or is this just kind of exhibition, or it's very entertaining. The things that I've watched are really cool. It's
completely evolved, Scott. Like it began as a member. They were a member of the Coastal Plain League, which is just summer league baseball, like college players playing baseball in their 3 months off. And then it became, hey, let's split off, do our own thing, play some exhibition baseball, barnstorm around the country. Next thing you know, we're selling out NFL stadiums, and so now we've crafted our own league and broadcast a good portion of our games on ESPN, TNT, the CW. So the TV networks are flocking to the product, and it's grown effectively overnight.
Yeah, it's insane. So how long is the choreography? Like, who does all of that?
Me. It's one of my favorite parts, actually. We'll sit down say on a Tuesday, usually on a Tuesday, in our OTT meetings, over the top meetings, and I'll say, hey, what if we do, like, we're going to Albuquerque this week, what if we do a Demi Lovato song about so-and-so, plastic doll, and she said something about roller skates and something about a hairdryer. We have the guy sprint in from the outfield, lights are out, strobe on him. They throw him a doll and the hairdryer and the roller skates, and we bring props into this, bring the other guy. It create this big extravaganza out of a guy just walking to the plate. And then he hits a home run. We can't script any of the home runs. We can script entertainment pieces, and those guys make us look good every single night. It's really neat. It's a massive group think of how to build these shows.
Okay, but you're a big part of that.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't have to be. We have another broadcaster for the Bananas, who he loves stats. He's the numbers guy.
Oh my goodness.
Loves building building out the annals of history for banana ball. He could tell you in 2021 what a guy hit. You're like, wow, it existed in 2021. Barely, but it did. And he can give you those stats. For me, I'm super ingrained in the entertainment side and making sure each of our shows are unique. We do 10 to 15 new things every night in our shows that you've never seen on a baseball field before. We pride ourselves on that.
It's very entertaining. You got to check it out. I'm just telling you, it's great stuff. All right, the college football national title game was last night. Very entertaining, great game. What do you think it says about college football today and what happened? Indiana winning its first ever college football national championship.
Well, Scott, I think it certainly says that we're open for anybody's open for business to win. But Kurt Cignetti's the best worst thing to ever happen to college football. Reason being, SEC teams are going to fire their coaches at an alarming rate because you're not Kurt Cignetti. If you cannot win me a national championship in your first 2 years or compete in your first 2 years, Cignetti just proved you could do it at the worst college program in America. If you cannot do it with the resources of an Ole Miss, of a Florida, of an LSU, the leash just got a lot shorter for the sport. So that's the negative side of what you saw. The positive side is there will be guys like Kurt Cignetti who grow up their programs and win championships at schools like Indiana or schools like Texas Tech, schools like BYU or Utah that have the investment, the resources, and more than that, the development, the developmental side, I should say. Scott, here's the deal. BYU, Utah, they both know this. Indiana knows this. It's not a matter of how many 5-stars you have, how many 5-star high school recruits, transfers that you have. It's a matter of how many 5-star college football players you've grown up on your roster.
Yeah.
So for BYU and Utah, they keep getting 3-star kids from Logan. What do they do with those? They create 5-star college football players, NFL talent out of guys that were overlooked. Indiana's doing the same thing. Now that you give access to those programs to actual 4- and 5-star players, they still have that developmental side. They still have an expertise in that. Kurt Cignetti does, as do the staffs around the Big 12. And because of that, you're going to see some of these upstart programs really jump because they have the development and now they have access to better players with more money.
Yeah, I've watched this whole developmental process evolve over decades with at Utah and BYU, where they understand it's almost a science. They just know these kids to pick, and they can just almost project. This kid is the type we're looking for, and all of them don't pan out, but a lot of them sure do. They've become extremely successful in college football because of this process, and if you're able to add an extra talent into that, but you also have to keep them. You start seeing some of these these kind of role players at Utah, BYU, and BYU didn't hardly lose anyone in the portal, but some of these role players, teams are snatching them up, and it's hard to keep them there, but they're certainly the right direction for sure. So do you think there's an expansion of the playoffs? Do you think the powers that be said after a couple of years, we like this 12 team? I know there's been a lot of talk about expanding it, but after seeing Miami, that was questionable to get into the playoffs, you see Indiana maybe an unexpected champion. Does that bode well for expanding, or do they want to contract it?
Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, Scott, we're done. There's really no going back with this. Reason being, we no longer need the best team in college football. Ohio State may not have been the best team in college football in 2024. What they were best suited to win a tournament-style format. They were best suited to outlast everybody else. Yeah, we lost to Michigan, but we didn't play a conference title game. We jumped back in and were able to win in the postseason immediately. That's what you're looking for in a 12-team, 16-team, or 24-team format. So the Big Ten, they want to prove that they've asserted their dominance in college football. They are asking for 24 teams. Greg Sankey with the SEC says really the furthest he'll go is 16, and he really doesn't want 16 because he expects to get 5 squads out of the SEC year in and year out. The rhetoric, the PR is still there for the SEC to be the best conference in college football, even though they are not 3 consecutive years without a team even in the championship game, much less winning the title. That says a lot about how good the Big Ten is today. That said, the Big Ten trusts it so much better than the SEC. They say, hey, if we expand to 24 teams, there are better odds. We get 6, they get 6. We get 7, they get 7. And we'll prove that we are that much more dominant than the Southeastern Conference. SEC wants to keep it small and controlled. Big Ten wants to open it up and prove that they're the number 1 league in the country. And the ACC and the Big 12, they're really being told right now just to sit tight, let it happen, and accept whatever we give you because those 2 conferences alongside ESPN call the shots.
Do you think that Dan Lanning brought this up? Do you think they change kind of the calendar of college football, and that maybe they do away with conference championship games, and they just start the playoffs, and kind of go through the month of December for the playoffs and have the national championship game kind of, early January? Certainly seems like it would make more sense, but do you see, does that have some real legs to it? I mean, does an actual smart suggestion actually make sense? And is it something that they would do?
It doesn't make us enough money. That's the problem.
Oh.
That's the issue with this is ESPN and the networks that broker these things. They will drag it out. The NFL, they play, now 17 games,
Right.
and play the season into mid-February. They look at college football and say, hey, look, if we're playing NFL game number 1 in the preseason August 3rd, and then playing all the way till February 10th or February 14th next year, then we can do that in college football. Everybody just be quiet and let's go make our check. So I don't know if I see they certainly, if they should do anything, should cut the regular season short by a game or two. We're seeing many more meaningless games of, Alabama's playing Wofford. We don't need that. And if we want to go to a 2014 playoff, we're going to have to forfeit something like that because the players just cannot sustain the way this model's going. They're playing deep into their second semester of college, and they hate it. The kids hate it. The coaches hate it. I think the viewers hate it. I watched the national championship game, and it felt like it was 5.5 hours long. Like it started 40 minutes late, and they just it was, hey, touchdown, commercial break, kickoff, and before the first play, commercial break.
Right.
They're teetering this machine toward the making money area of college football, and they're not going to come back.
I used to hate that, but when in the NFL, you go, okay, kick off the ball, and then it's like a TV time. It's like, come on, can we ever get on the field? That was really a bad thing. All right, did you say Wofford? Does Wofford even play 11-man football? Is it 9-man? Which one is it?
I don't know what that. Maybe they got a 6-man. 6-man was popular in Texas. Maybe Wofford's got some of that over there.
Have you ever watched like a 9-man football before? Have you ever watched one of those?
My last game broadcasting for ESPN Central Texas in Texas was 8-man, a state championship between, I think, Abbott and Oglesby at Jerry's World. So NFL stadium, 35 people collectively. And Scott, the weird part is the way they build the field, the 10-yard line of an actual football field is their touchdown.
Right.
So if they got to the 50, it was really the 40. So the play-by-play guy, I'm going the 40, the 30, but it's actually the 50, the 40. Oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. But I've seen it. It was a nightmare.
All right. Of course, it's the national championship's over, so now it's the way too early predictions for next year. I always find these to be comical. You got a lot of Big 12 teams in the way too early. Texas Tech is, of course, in the top 10. I think BYU's right there. Some have them in the top 10, 11. There's Arizona State. There's TCU. You've got Utah is in some of these. I don't know if you've paid attention to any of this. Where do you think the Big 12 kind of lands next year as far as the teams? Are these the teams to watch for, or is there someone that we might be missing?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing from the way too early rankings is the same thing we got last year, which is here are, 18 SEC and Big 10 teams, and we forgot the Big 12. Throw a few in there,
right.
And they'll be ranked, that 19 to 25 slot outside of Texas Tech and BYU. Houston's going to be a force next year. I think Arizona can once again be very good and build off of what they had, the success they had in 2025. Watch out, though, the team that I'm riding throughout the offseason, Oklahoma State. They just did. If you're looking for the roadmap of how to build what Kurt Signetti did at Indiana, it's what Oklahoma State is doing, having taken North Texas roster and their coach, Eric Morris, brought him to Stillwater and said, okay, here, whatever we need to do to help you win, we'll do it. If that's more strength and conditioning coaches, fine. If it's more on-field staff, off-field staff, fine. If it's paying for big-time players from your old program to come to Oklahoma State, we'll do it. They are unloading the Brinks truck to compete. I think Oklahoma State's going to surprise a lot of people.
All right, Coach Prime feels like he's lost his spot on television and he's moved to Saturday morning cartoons. I just don't feel like you hear anything from Colorado. Is that is it a wasted opportunity? Does he ever make anything happen at Colorado? What's your thoughts on Colorado?
I don't foresee them winning more than 6 or 7 games in 2026. That said, the GDP of Boulder runs through Deion Sanders. What he has done from an admission standpoint, exposure standpoint, he has given them PR that you could not pay for. That would be millions, astronomical number. He is somehow underpaid because of what he's done to the GDP in that town. So he's got the longest leash in the world. He can do whatever he wants, and there will be no death blow during his tenure at Boulder. That said, you're forfeiting winning right now. You're saying we're okay not winning going into year 4 of Deion Sanders to have Deion Sanders as our head coach. Now, if they shock everybody and win football games, that'd be awesome. But they're riding this out. It's like if you told the Cleveland Browns, Cleveland, we're going to make you suck for the next 5 years. But each year we'll give you $1 billion so that maybe year 6, when the change happens, you won't suck anymore. They would take that. They say, look, we've always sucked. And for Colorado, 15 of the 17 years before Deion, they missed a bowl game. They were bad, a really bad program. So they say, look, if Deion sucks and we have 5 years of suck, but we'll get $1 billion each year, we're okay with that because the next guy will have a treasure trove of riches in Boulder. So I don't hate what's happening right now for CU.
Kyle Whittingham stepped down at Utah and took a lot of coaches, a lot of players with him. Some people, ruffled some feathers there. What's your take on all that? Do you think it was just kind of how business is as usual, or did Kyle Whittingham do it down and dirty to the University of Utah?
I think Kevin Harlan did it down and dirty more than Kyle Whittingham. And I don't completely blame him, Scott. I don't want to completely blame Kevin Harlan for what he put for Mark Harlan, I should say, the athletic director of Kevin Harlan's my coworker at Westwood One. Mark Harlan, the athletic director at Utah. Here's what I've heard from multiple sources inside is that Harlan got to the end of this and Whittingham wanted in. He said, hey, I know I said I'd retire a couple years ago. We put the head coach in waiting there, but I'd really like to consider coming back. And Harlan, he just had a very honest conversation of, you did this last year. We gave you another year. I'm not sure we can continue giving you this leash. Like, we've got to have some sort of commitment. And we've already got Morgan Scalley, who's going to be a great head coach, waiting in the wings. I think Harlan expected to mutually part ways or to say, hey, no, it's not going to work out, and that Whittingham goes away. And he had a couple donors in his back pocket that were trying to help him too. What happens instead, though, he doesn't go away, doesn't go become an associate head coach in the NFL with his family. He's the head coach of Michigan. Like, just blow up in your face and ravage half the Utah staff, half the BYU staff, and a bunch of players from the Utah program. That is just DEFCON 5, worst case scenario for what Harlan was expecting out of the Whittingham. And I think maybe he does it differently if he knows, if he has the hindsight that's how Whit would attack this. But Whit said, I still want to coach. I'm not just going to roll over. I know I told you I was going to retire. I was mistaken. I'm sorry. I still want to coach. Either I do it here or somewhere else. Harlan said, I'll call your bluff. Go do it somewhere else. He's now the head coach at Michigan, and that gutted some serious pieces for both Utah and BYU.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and I mean I can't fault the players or coaches to want to go to Michigan. I mean that's a dream situation for so many people. All right, Brett Yormark. It feels like the conference is too quiet. Like he always talks about he's open for business. What do you hear? Is there anything? I don't know. I want something big. I want something dramatic to happen, and Brett usually delivers on that. What can we expect? Any exciting news from the Big 12 in the near future?
We're kind of wandering in the desert right now, Scott, which is not all that bad. It's playing the long game of waiting for the ACC to truly fall to the wayside. And they're teetering in that direction. With Miami's success this year, they're looking at the conference and saying, oh, thank you for paying us all of our money from the playoff, but you're still not giving us the money we deserve from a TV contract standpoint. If the ACC is paying $35 million to Miami, $35 million to Clemson or Florida State, and the Big Ten of the SEC are paying $55 million, those schools understand what they are losing by not being in a larger conference with a better media rights deal. Those schools sued the ACC because of its grant of rights, and now within a couple of years, 2029, 2030, they'll want to exit. That's when Brett Yormark goes on the attack. The last big piece of news was Memphis calling, saying, we'll give you $200 million, partnership with FedEx, just let us in. And Yormark said, we are a conference, not an orphanage. We don't have to take you. You would not make us better. No. The ACC, there are some schools in there like Louisville, NC State maybe, Georgia Tech, that would be ripe for the Big 12, and this conference will attack them when the time is right. That time's just not right yet.
All right. Really appreciate your time today. Of course, you can hear Drake Toll on Locked On Big 12 in on Westwood One. What's this channel? What time are you on Westwood One?
Yeah, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time. So be 4 to 7 for you cats that are out there in Utah. And then on Sirius XM channel 375. And there are a ton of local affiliates all across the country that have been great to us this first month of the show. So yep, the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One, and Locked On Big 12. And yep, Savannah Bananas season kicks off here in a month.
Yeah. Go Bananas, by the way, and have a great day. Really enjoyed it. It's great stuff, by the way. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks, Scott.
All right, there you have it. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 Sports. Of course, is the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One, Sirius XM, and the Savannah Bananas. You don't want to miss that. So much more to come. Actually, no, I think we're done. Thank you for tuning in today. Until then, we'll see you then. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell.
We are Rogue Media Sports.